Hello. My name is Monica, and today I'm going to talk to you about why I'm not going to neuter my dog. This is Hoshi. He's a Japanese breed of dog called a Kaiken, which is native to the Kai or Yamanashi prefecture in central Japan. He is about 40 pounds. He's a small medium dog. Maybe he's bigger than a beagle. I don't know. I've never had a beagle. I think he's smaller than a collie. He's 40 pounds, right? So he is a 2-year-old intact male. He hasn't had any health tests done or anything like that, and I've had him since he was a puppy. What, like 8 weeks old, I think is when I got him. The reason I'm making this video today is because when I looked up videos about if you should spay or neuter your pet, or why you should or why you shouldn't, it seems like there's a very broad, very like one aspect kind of approach to breeding. Or not one aspect, but one perspective, I'd say, maybe, out of like should and should not. If you should, it's one perspective. If you should not, it's another perspective. There's no variety, really. So I'm gonna talk about why I'm not gonna neuter my dog. Right now we have four dogs. That's Theo. Of course, there's Hoshi. Oakley is in the crate, and Holland is over there. So Holland is something like 7, I think. Oakley is also 2. Hoshi, of course, is 2. And Theo is, how old are you, 11? Yeah? Okay. And other than Hoshi, all of them are neutered. And other than Hoshi, all of them are companion pets. They have no reason to be neutered or to be intact. They're not going to have puppies. I'm not planning any litters with them. They don't participate in any activities that benefit the breed. So what's special about Hoshi? So as I said before, he is a Japanese breed, and my sister asked me recently if I wanted to get him neutered because he was kind of dripping everywhere. So you know, dogs, they have like they're wet in some places. They drool or they sneeze. My pug sneezes. He'll spray moisture on you when he sneezes. There's no way to fix that. Or, you know, their private parts are drippy, and because Hoshi is intact, he has a lot of hormones. There's no saying that he would not have that wetness if he was neutered. It might be less. That's all they could really, the vet could tell me, is that it would be less. So, you know, there's that. So my sister said, oh, well, why don't you get him fixed? Like, it's irresponsible for you to have him intact. And my aunt and other training videos that I've seen online for dog behaviorists have said, you know, why would you keep your dog intact if, you know, you're just saving them so that they can, you know, have sex one time and then that's it. Like, if you're going to breed them once in their entire life, then why would you have them go through all these urges to breed and the urge to, like, I don't know, run away and find a mate, and or just, like, would you want to just, you know, have sex one time and then never get to have it again because there's no one around to have it with? And, you know, the idea that that is cruel. To that, I want to say, you know, dogs are not people. Dogs are not people. So, like, you know, people And also, besides that, there's this really strange idea that, like, every person on the planet deserves to have sex or continue to have sex or is going to have sex. There are celibate people out there. It is their conscious choice. So with a dog, they don't have a choice. But again, they're a dog and they are happier and healthier if they are not in charge. So I would say I don't know, that's the same as people, you know? I think we generally prefer to have our own freedom to choose. So, taking away the whole idea that your dog somehow deserves pleasure, or breeding or not breeding is going to impact the pleasure in their life, or, you know, the urges that they have or something like that. Also this idea that, like, your dog is going to get out and he's going to go off and he's going to breed and he's going to contribute to the population of, you know, unwanted animals in the United States. You don't want your dog to get out even if they are spayed and neutered. So we're already taking precautions to prevent him from getting away. And if he was to be captured by the, you know, the vet or the SPCA or something like that, then I imagine, I don't know that they find many intact dogs on the streets anymore. But I imagine if they did, they might go ahead and just do the procedure. So that's a risk for me because I don't want him to be neutered. So I'm trying my best not to let that situation happen. So that's just part of being a dog owner, dog ownership. So again, why am I not breeding him? So he is a companion pet, but he's also part of a preservation gene pool here in the States. So if any of you guys are familiar with another Japanese breed, the Akita, there are two varieties of Akita besides different colors, and that is the American Akita and the Japanese Akita. And the American and Japanese Akita look very different. They're like a practically different dog. The American resembles a Saint Bernard, and the Japanese looks like a very large Shiba Inu. Please don't do that. So, why did that happen? Because dogs were imported from Japan, and they were bred amongst themselves until certain characteristics became more prominent, and then those were bred in further and further, not inbred, but, you know, they were bred down further and further, I guess. Maybe they were, like, because it's not like, I don't know. I'm not too much of an expert on Akitas or whatever, but they also mix them with other types of dogs. So the American Akita looks different from the Japanese Akita because they didn't have a large enough gene pool to prevent this mixing of animals without the breed dying out in the States. So that's kind of where we're at right now with my dog, the Kaiken, is that he's part of a gene pool of dogs that's been imported from Japan to contribute to the gene pool here, so it doesn't stagnate and create a deviation, so that it is just one breed of dog and we're not having the American and Japanese varieties of dogs. Okay, but why import a dog from a different country? Oh, just because they're cool. It's cool to have a different type of dog. Ooh, it's a foreign dog. Ooh, it's like, why? You know, because, well, it was a personal choice for, like, where I was living, because I lived in Japan for a while. This was the type of dog that was from there. I thought that was, you know, cool. But also, why bring him to America instead of rehoming him in Japan? I could have done that, but this type of dog gets really attached to its owner, so I don't know if he would have fared too well being rehomed. I mean, that's not impossible, definitely, but it was within my capability to bring him over, and again, there's not much population here in America, so he is an asset to the population here in the States. And why do we want to have a population in the States? That's because there are not a lot of these dogs in Japan, where they are native to. They are from Japan. The majority of them are in Japan, but there are not a lot of them. Yearly registration of puppies, or just dogs in general, is about 700 to 900 a year. That's not a lot of dogs at all. I think my high school had like maybe 500 students. I'm not sure. Like, I'm pretty sure. I know that my graduating class had between 1 and 300 students. It's a 4-year school. So, math. But either way, like, that's the entire population of this breed of dog in Japan. Puppies and old dogs, dogs that can't reproduce, and all that would just be my entire high school population. And that's not a lot. One American high school is an entire population of this one Japanese breed. And the other breeds, the other native breeds besides the Akita and the Shiba, are not doing well either. There are 6 breeds, and most people have only heard of the 2, the Akita and the Shiba. The other ones, some registration is as low as only 200 dogs a year. And in and of itself, that is way too few, because that's going to cause inbreeding and stagnation within that population as well. So more dogs need to be bred. More healthy dogs need to be bred. It's something that only a few people are closely monitoring, because they don't want the dog breeds to die out. And the reason they're dying out is because, again, of people. You know, the same choices that people make to, you know, shop for dogs, or adopt dogs, or neuter dogs, or not neutered dogs, are having these dogs have no home and not be bred more, and basically causing them to die out. So most of the Japanese breeds of dogs are working dogs. They're hunting dogs. They have a purpose. They're larger or mid-sized dogs. They don't quite fit into the younger population of Japan living in cities. And there are less people who are owning them in the countryside. You watch that butterfly? So, even when I was in Japan and I would go around with my dog, there were Japanese people who didn't even know what this dog was. Didn't know that he was Japanese, didn't know what kind of breed he was, couldn't recognize him, or were fearful of him. They were afraid of him because he is a large dog by Japanese standards. 40 pounds is large by Japanese standards, when most of the dogs are under 10 pounds. And a Shiba is like considered one of the biggest companion pets that they have now. So they have a huge companion pet craze over there, same as we do in the States. And so this is something that I feel like all working dogs that are not popular, that are not established as good companion pets, are having a hard time with. Why would you get like a Bernese Mountain Dog, or a Saint Bernard, or a dog that's bred for colder climates, or a dog that's bred for running, like a Greyhound, or a Dalmatian, which is also a dog that needs lots of exercise, or like a hound dog, like a hunting dog, like a coon hound, or like a shepherd or something like that. These are all cute, cool, interesting dogs. And there are popular varieties of them that are good for companionship, but there are also less popular ones. So why would you choose the less popular one when there's one that's just as easy, that's much easier to get, and much easier to deal with as far as like behavior goes? Why would you get a dog with high prey drive when you could get a dog that is fluffy and fits in your purse. Why would you get a dog that is toothy and looks like a wolf and maybe scares small children when you could get a wiener dog that's very soft and cuddly and rolls over? And why would you do that? And again, this goes back to preservation. These dogs were bred for a purpose, and just because we no longer, as a majority, participate in those activities, lots of us don't hunt, or if we do hunt, we hunt with mixed breeds. Like even dog sled racers typically have mixed breeds now. They don't have like Alaskan Malamutes or Huskies, really. They have like these different types of dogs that are much more athletic and slimmer, I guess. I don't know. But these mixed type breeds that people use for like boar hunting in the States, and stuff like that is kind of what's happening now. So we're ignoring like these dogs that have been traditionally bred over long periods of time, or in this case have a heritage of hundreds and hundreds of years, of ancient peoples. This is a primitive dog breed, so yeah, and we're just gonna let them die out because they no longer serve a purpose, and I don't agree with that. That's like letting heirloom varieties of fruits and vegetables be taken over by GMO varieties, which are modern modified foods, and saying that that's just as good. Like, and we don't need these heirloom varieties anymore. And I don't agree with that. Like, there are lots of actually apples and things like that as well that are very rare in the States. And there was this book one time that I read, and I was talking about like 200 and something different varieties of apples that are here in the States that we don't even have anymore. But like the way you can get new varieties of things is by preserving and keeping these old varieties and keeping them identified. So like there's also another video I watched about a tree frog that had been misidentified, and because they kept a specimen of the original identified tree frog, they were later able to realize that they were mostly studying a new species, and they had misidentified the original tree frog. So with dogs, if a trait disappears, like say all dogs in the future have floppy ears, none of them have prick ears, how do you get those prick ears back? Because floppy ears are the recessive gene. That's something that puppies have when they're little, and then they never have the ears pop up. They never have their ears point up. So if we breed all of our dogs to the point that none of them have pointy ears, the only thing that we can go back to encourage them to have pointy ears, because why? I don't know. Maybe it makes their hearing better or something. Maybe it makes it easier for you to like see them in nature if they're hunting. Maybe we have to go back, and maybe hunting's going to be important in the future. I don't know. The only way we would be able to get that gene back is to breed them with wolves, which is not impossible, but it's also counterproductive because wolves do not have the social behaviors that dogs do. They're not as friendly with people, and things like that. So, while there is an argument that like maybe you shouldn't buy dog breeds, that there's lots of strays that are available and are being euthanized while people buy purebred dogs. There's also the argument that if people want a specific type of dog, they will not get a mixed dog. They will not get a dog that's not the type of dog they want. And it's all the more easy because when I was looking for dogs as well, before I got my dog, I had also considered adopting. I had considered getting a rehomed pet. And I looked at lots and lots and lots of dogs online. And some were very cute, some I was interested in, some were, you know, just not my cup of tea. Even if you go to a shelter and you see lots and lots of dogs around, there's no saying that one will grab your heart. And even if they do, there's no saying that it's better to make a decision with your heart than your head. So it's a lot easier to be very informed of the circumstances, I guess, when you are able to shop online now and to consider so many different things before going forward. And people who, I guess, get this type of dog don't do it lightly. It's a huge time commitment, huge money commitment. It's just it's a lot. So if someone's willing to do that, they're not just gonna flip at the drop of the hat and be convinced that they need to get a mixed breed. So it's not like when you get a purebred dog, you're taking away a home from a mixed breed dog, because I wouldn't have been offering that home to them anyway. And that's just, you know, those are just facts. So in conclusion, spay your pets if they're a companion animal. If there's no benefit to the breed, if the dog is not healthy, if they're a very popular dog breed, if you're not doing anything with them, like as far as hunting with them or showing them at dog shows or advocating for the breed or anything like that, even if your dog is like a pet actor or something like that, you should probably still spay your dog, because your pet is that dog. Your pet is not the puppies that dog will have. But there are certain cases where you wouldn't want to breed your dog, such as there's a small population, you're breeding for preservation, you're breeding for, you have a healthy specimen of that breed, and you can contribute to the genetic diversity. In that case, you kind of have an obligation to do that. Also consider spaying your pet later in life for their health, and always know that your dog, whether they're spayed or neutered or not, needs to be trained. You need to spend time with them, and you need to manage their behavior beyond biologically or physically altering them. Okay. What do you see? You see the cat outside? Yeah? What do you see? You see the cat? Hoshi? How's it going? Who's a good boy? Okay. All right.